One of the messages that I like to give to people in jail or prison is that you've got to really work on changing yourself every single day. And it's very important to me also that I help those people understand I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I don't do, that I didn't do while I was going through 9,500 days in prison, and that I'm still doing today. My name is Michael Santos, and I'm the founder of Prison Professors. One of the things that Prison Professors really is passionate about doing is helping people, what I call justice-impacted people, understand today is the day to begin sowing seeds for the future that you are going to build. That lesson I learned from leaders like Nelson Mandela, Viktor Frankl, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, leaders from all eras. And it's really important that I never stop communicating that message. That's one of the ways that I could strive to be the change that I want to see in the world. And what's the change I want to see? I want more people understanding that the complexities that are going to follow for anybody in prison, for anybody in jail, and for anybody who's going through the system. I want those people to understand today is the day to start building. And I want to tell you what I am doing today, because again, that validates this message that it's never too early to start sowing seeds for what you're going to build. It's never too late to start sowing seeds for what you're going to build. And it's my hope that my audience or our audience will see, hey, I can apply this own story to my life. And this is something I began doing right after I got out of prison on August 13th, 2012. I transitioned from prison to a halfway house, and I finished in August of 13. Now, while I was going through there, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could look at the Prison Professors YouTube channel, and if you click on the video tab, and you go to and then their little drop-down menu comes up and it'll say oldest. You can look at the first video I created. And I created that video when I just got out of prison. All I had was technology like this, just an iPhone. I looked in the iPhone and I just started filming this video saying, hey, I just finished 25 years in prison. I've transitioned to society, and I'm going to start sowing seeds for the future that I want to build. Well, it's almost been 10 years since it is more than 10 years since I filmed that first video, and I'm still doing the same thing. I'm filming this. You see, I'm not at my home office. I am in a hotel room in Phoenix. And the reason that I am here in Phoenix is I'm advancing this concept of saying, I really want to penetrate the prison market and get into jails and prisons all the way across America. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is working with a tablet provider. But there are so many moving parts that makes this possible. It requires a number of things, but yet it all started from decisions that I made at the very start of my journey when I was inside of a jail facing a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. It was back then that I read this story about Socrates that completely transformed my life. And it's a story that really helped me understand I can't really change the machine of the criminal justice system, but I can work on changing myself. And for those of you who have gone through the Prison Professors courses, you know that change, for me, required me to think about a number of things. Number one, I had to think about the people I wanted to influence in the future, including future case managers, probation officers, employers, financiers, people that would help me build credibility. I had to think early when I was facing life without parole, how am I going to influence those people? Then I had to create products and services or resources that would demonstrate I am contributing to society. And then finally, I had to build my own credentials to demonstrate I am somebody that is worthy of these stakeholders investing their time to work with me. And that carried me through the entire journey in prison. Then when I came home in 2012, I really started to work in a manner with hopes of communicating that message to others. That led to a front page article in the San Francisco Chronicle, which brought more attention to this guy getting out of prison after a quarter century and settling in San Francisco. And that article then led to invitations to go speak at universities, including Stanford and Berkeley. and San Francisco State University, which was the first university campus I ever stepped foot on in my life. And I stepped foot on there, and after telling them the story, they offered me a position to work there. So I became a professor, and that is the origins of the name of our brand, Prison Professors. I started out while I was in the halfway house becoming a professor in a major university. And while I was there, it was still communicating this message of how to work to be the change that I want to see in the world. I want you, if you are in a jail or prison, start thinking about that. What seeds can you start sowing today to influence the future that you want to build? On what's important for you? It was really important for me to want to change this system. And if that's important for you, it's crucial that you start developing your own tools, tactics, and resources that will help you along the way. Again, I'm not asking you to do anything that I didn't do. And so if you pursue that path, I really believe that you make a huge effort in triumphing. That's the word, triumphing? Or conquering the complexities that make life so difficult for other people who go through this system. Now, going through this system when you come home, in my case, was different than a lot of other people who served lengthy sentences. It was different because I had resources. I had worked really hard while I was in prison, and that meant that I left prison with money in the bank and with income opportunities, and already with a really strong support system, and already with a lot of tools, tactics, and resources that I could use to start building my life. And one of the ways that I started building then is learning how to use technology like this. Create videos, create audio files. In the beginning, of course, I had to learn how to film, produce, edit, publish, distribute, while simultaneously working to earn a living. And if you look at some of those Prison Professors programs, you'll see that I interviewed a guy by the name of Jay Jordan. Now, Jay had gotten out of prison around the same time that I got out of prison. He's an African-American guy that grew up in Stockton, had some challenges with gang involvement growing up, served time in high-security prisons, but wanted to build a bit different future for himself. And his story on the Prison Professors educational platform really talks about how he became an entrepreneur and a really successful entrepreneur. And then how he became a community organizer, working for some of the largest, most well-funded nonprofits in the country. And now he is the CEO of a successful nonprofit. But I reached out to Jay this morning. I said, Jay, I really want you to be involved with me in this new product that I am creating to influence outcomes of the criminal justice system. Because Jay's model right now is working to change the collateral consequences that make life so difficult for justice-impacted people. And he's a CEO of this organization that has many super competent, capable professionals working for him. And he told me, he said, any one of the people that are working with me have higher credentials and could easily be running their own organization, but he's the CEO. Why? Because he is a justice-impacted person who has transformed his life. And I asked him, I said, I need to take your story inside high-security prisons because we need more of this diversity. We really need to show people that look like people in prison, that talk like people in prison, that have gone through what people in prison have gone through, and show how did you become successful when you came out. That's one of the stories that Jay is going to help me deliver. So this morning I reached out to him and told him, hey, I'm here working with a tablet provider who has been using the Prison Professors program to help people in jails and prisons transform their life. I want you to help me expand that voice. So instead of reaching 100,000 people a year, I want to reach millions of people a year. And, so I'm really excited because that conversation today led him to tell me anything that you're behind, I am behind. And although I'm busy working on my own initiatives, I definitely want to contribute in working on your initiatives as well. So you're going to see the development of our Prison Professors program where we will work to reach more justice-impacted people, regardless of where somebody is, what stage of the journey they're in. There are always seeds that person can sow. But that person needs to be sowing those seeds every day, regardless of where that person is. And that's what you could find at Prison Professors. You will see that even if I'm in a hotel room, traveling, working, I'm going to make sure that I'm filming something or writing something or publishing an audio file that's getting out and that we are dispersing to our network across the country. Right now, it's more than 100,000 people. But in the years to come, I'm convinced that we can 10x that and touch the lives of 1 million people, whether they are in a county jail, they're in a prison, wherever they are. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can visit us at prisonprofessors.com and see all of the content that we produce. And you can see what I mean when I say it's never too early and it's never too late to begin sowing seeds for a better life. You can be developing these skills right now. You can be developing your own tools, tactics, and resources to help you grow. You can influence your judge. You can influence a warden. You can influence a prospective employer. You can become the architect of the success that you want in your future. But it's not going to happen by accident, and it's not going to happen with happy talk. You definitely have to do the work. That's what our team is really committed to doing, is to helping you figure out how to do that work. I do hope that you will subscribe to us if you're watching this outside and you are seeing us on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring the bell or click the little bell so that you get notified every time we publish a new product or service. If you are listening to this on iTunes, subscribe to us on iTunes and share it with others. This is the way that we strive to be the change we want to see in the world. But if you are in a jail or a prison, we are really creating this message for you. It's my hopes that you will collaborate with us and work hard to develop your own resume, your own story of how you've architected a plan to become the CEO of your own life and how you started developing your tools, tactics, and resources. You started documenting all the stages that you've gone through to build a life of meaning and relevance and dignity. And if you do that, that collaboration is what we need to influence stakeholders, who include prison administrators or directors, and also includes legislators and voters, and helping people understand why we need to create pathways to help people earn freedom. That is the mechanisms that we are striving to create. We believe in you. We are going to ask you to be helpful with us as well. So I am Michael Santos with prisonprofessors.com, and I hope that you'll always be a member of our community. If you're outside, please subscribe. If you're inside, please stick with our courses and work towards excellence. Thanks so much for being a part of our community.